So my buddy Brian and I are planning a trip to Lassen Volcanic National Park this weekend. So for today's video, I'd like to go over the things that I'm carrying with me on that trip. So the items laid out before me on this table is pretty much everything that I'm taking, with the exception of the things that I always carry. And I will post a link to the video for those items for those of you who are interested. So these items here are just above and beyond what's always in my pack. So let's start with some of the super basic items first. I'm bringing my jet boil stove, my mug for the all-important morning coffee, and my utensil for eating whatever food I decide to carry with me. My headlamp. This is the Petzl Bindi, and I've yet to use it in the field, so I'm pretty excited to test this out. New piece of gear for me here. And actually, quite a bit of what I'm bringing with me on this trip is new gear, so this could be an interesting trip. So I'm going to be carrying snowshoes. Just my MSR Evos. Had these for a couple years. They've never done me wrong. Big fan of these snowshoes. And then I'm also going to be carrying, of course, my trekking poles, Swift 3 MSRs. I love these poles, and they don't make them anymore. So I'm going to be really, really sad when these break. Got trusty gaiters. These are just a REI nylon gaiter, nothing super fancy. But I'm also carrying crampons. And I know it's kind of weird to carry crampons and snowshoes. But the last time Brian and I went to this particular park and tried to summit Mount Lassen, I think it's called. We'll double check that, and I'll put some text down below with the right name. But anyway, the last time we went up there, I was really wishing I had both, and I only had my snowshoes on that trip, and the crampons would have come in really handy once we got closer to the top. So let's talk about clothing. What am I bringing for clothing on this trip? I'm bringing 2 pair of REI synthetic winter socks, and a 3rd pair of just kind of a generic brand that I picked up, I don't even know where, but these are just for sleeping in. I will not wear these until maybe the last day as we're hiking out. I might opt for some clean socks on the way out. I have 2 base layer tops. One of these is just kind of a Costco off-brand, it's like the 32 degree, which have quickly become my favorite base layer, and the other is from Duluth Trading Company, and that is going to be the layer closest to my skin because it really does a great job of wicking the moisture away from me. I also have 2 pair synthetic bottoms, and again, these are just the Costco 32 degree brand. I have my Insulated Buff, which has very quickly become one of my favorite pieces of winter gear. I mentioned this in the last Chickadee Ridge video, and I kind of made the joke that something this lightweight and thin had no right being as warm as it is, and I stand by that. The thing is great. You can use it as a head covering, you can use it as a face covering, you can use it to cover your ears. It's just a cool piece of gear. And you know, I have the summer buff that I carry to protect my neck from sunburn, and now I have the winter buff to protect me from frostbite. I also have this little headband ear protector, and this was something I'll sleep in. This will cover my ears and go under my beanie while I'm asleep, give my ears a little bit extra warmth. Then the last bit of clothing will be my Patagonia Onesie. And again, this is just for sleeping in. I love this thing. It's one of my favorite pieces of gear. It's like a waffle pattern thermal with a hood. Really, really, really comfortable to sleep in. So that covers all the underlayer clothing that I'll be carrying. So let's talk about my outer layers. First thing I have are my Patagonia Uninsulated snow pants. I do prefer the uninsulated waterproof pants because I have more control over my temperature. You know, I can supplement these with the base layers. I can supplement these with my onesie when we're at camp. And it's just, to me personally, it's better to have an uninsulated, just more like a shell pant when you're hiking. And then if you get colder, you can add layers. If you get too warm, you can take layers away and really kind of prevent yourself from getting sweaty, which is super dangerous when you're hiking in the winter. To go along with the pants, I also have my insulated rain shell snowboarding jacket. Again, this one's from Patagonia. I got this off of their bargain rack for like, I don't know, it's like 80% off or something crazy like that. It does have some insulation. It's Gore-Tex. It's waterproof. It's a great outer layer to wear at camp to add some extra warmth. And it is waterproof. So while we're hiking, if it should start to snow or rain, I'm covered there too. Of course, I'll also be wearing and carrying my Mountain Hardwear puffy with the hood that I'm currently wearing because it is very cold in my garage tonight. My outdoor research Gore-Tex waterproof gloves with the removable liner. Again, I've talked about these a bunch in a couple of other videos. I'll link one up at the top if you're interested in learning more about these. On my feet, I'll be wearing my Duncan High GTX. I did do an unboxing video of these boots, but I have yet to do a full review, and I think after this trip, I'll be ready to do that. So, that basically covers the clothing I'm carrying. Ooh, it doesn't. I lied. I have one more item. My waffle thermal hoodie from Old Navy that I got for like $2 off of their bargain rack. Another really great piece of a layering system. Warmer than a standard base layer, but not quite as heavy as a puffy jacket or the rain shell. Quality piece of gear. Got a great deal on it. Really happy with that. Okay, now we can move past clothing and move on to sleep system. So, the first part of my sleep system is this hike and bike synthetic 0 degree bag. It's rated for a 0 degree survival rating. So, probably closer to 15 degrees of comfort. So I'm going to supplement that with my Thermalite Reactor liner. This serves two purposes. One, it does add a little extra layer of warmth. And two, it keeps the inside of the bag cleaner. This is super easy to wash. You just throw it in the washing machine at home. Much easier to clean than your sleeping bag. My Static V insulated sleeping pad. This is another new piece of gear that I haven't tried in the field yet, so I'm excited to see how that works for me. Got a really, really good deal on this on Costco's website, of all places. I got the pad and a pillow for $60. So to supplement that, I also have my Therm-A-Rest closed cell foam insulated pad. So this will go directly on the tent floor, the Static V on top of this, the sleeping bag on top of that, and the liner inside the sleeping bag, and I should be plenty warm at night. So for a shelter on this trip, I am carrying my North Face Mica 2. It's a 3-season tent, pretty durable, does really great in the wind. I've carried it on almost every snow trip I've ever been on. I will link a video either above or below if you are interested in learning more about that piece of gear. So all of this, plus, my food, and then all the stuff that I carry on every trip is all going to go inside my trusty Osprey Atmos 65 AG. This is my go-to pack for overnight trips in the winter. I don't carry this one in warm weather very often because it's heavy. I like it in the winter because it's got tons of straps and buckles and loops and everything else. I can strap my snowshoes to the outside. I can put my ice axe on the outside. I can put my trekking poles on the outside. And then all the other stuff inside the main compartment and in the floating brain. And there you have it. That is what I'm going to carry for 3 days and 2 nights in Lassen Volcanic National Park. That's all I got for you today. We'll talk again soon.